Goof, he just threw shade at Croc, and you can tell he felt it. The guy opens the door, but says many still prefer the free life and stay there. He says what surprises him is that the boy came in person. He should have just sent a representative, but Calix replies that he's sure a representative wouldn't secure the contract he wants. The old man stares, realizing that this damn kid looks young, but clearly wasn't going to be easy to deal with. Already inside the room, he asks the boy to explain what he's looking for. Calix immediately says that the mission's danger level is rank A, and that's why the reward would be 2.5 times greater than their weekly payment, and he wants the contract to last 1 month. The contract could be extended in 2-week increments with additional pay, but also pay half up front. Any rank as mercenary serving on this mission would have full authority over the formation. He won a maximum of 120 combatants and 80 support units. The old man's suspicions are confirmed. Man, he already realizes this damn kid wouldn't be easy. All the request details were crystal clear, but he still didn't know exactly what this mission was, and the conditions were very well balanced. It seemed weak if he accepted, but also kind of foolish to reject something with such good reasoning. He then replies that finding a group of that size willing to accept will be difficult, and asks for more details. Calix says that's fine, but if he shares any information, the reward will be reduced. Our boy is confident, man. After playing this damn game and getting denied thousands and thousands of times, negotiations are where he shines. To him, this guy was an amateur. Man, the guy says all right, he'll accept the conditions exactly as they are. He extends his hand and says he's never met a noble like him. All he asks is that he guarantee most of the mercenaries come back alive. Calix replies that he'll do his best. The old man then asks for the boy is staying, so he can send the mercenary captain to speak with him. The details could be discussed with that guy. Our boy thanks him, and a while later he's walking through the city sighing, relieved. He thought would be a lot harder. Crot just says he negotiated really well and asks where he learned that. Obviously, he can't say he used to work on a sales company. But he decides to totally ignore the question and says maybe now is a good time for a drink. But someone was watching and saw that he had gone into the mercenary guild. It's suspicious for a noble to be in this region. That's because Pasnu is the only free city in this land, right? No manables. No one rules it except the people. It's known as the famous sanctuary of mercenaries. That's because no matter what crime you've committed, here it's forgiven. It could be a runaway slave of noble who fled another nation or even someone who killed 1 million. In Pasnu, everything is forgiven. The only thing everyone is required to do is fight the monster wave that comes from the mountains. It all started because when monsters kill people and feed, they seem to return to the mountain. And that's why the first one sent to face them were always criminals and people who, if they died, it wouldn't matter. And it's because of that start that the city became what it is. And this buffed up guy at full of muscle is the underworld boss named Walter, and he says this is really bold. In front of him is someone called Corvus and wants to know how the bastard has the courage to show up there. Corvus replies that considering the past his own head should have been taken. But as a Black Knight, all of that was left behind. Walter's pissed that this bastard is mocking him, but he's more curious how trash like this guy managed to reach class 6. So he tells him to spit out what he wants. Walter comments about a group of nobles who arrived in the city and asks if he knows anything. Walter says no, and Corvus replies that they seem to have made some kind of request to the mercenaries. And he's there to order them to properly investigate why. Walter asks what the pay is and the guy says there will be an advance, but the real payment depends on the quality of the information he brings. Plus, he better act quickly or he'll end up with nothing. With that, Corvus leaves and Walter's burning with the desire to kill the bastard. He tells his guys to bring everything, and shortly after the document is on the table. When he takes a look at the request, he wonders. Is this Luminic trying to start a war? The guy reads danger level A, duration of 3 months and a force of nearly 200 men. This wasn't a war since they didn't border any enemy nation. Walter says he understands, but this was a high-rank mission. Not to mention that dungeons are made for small elite teams, not brute forces like that. Maybe it was some kind of hunt. He doesn't get it. Corvus says it doesn't make sense. If it were a hunt for a few monsters, they just lose money, and obviously they couldn't be that stupid. Walter suggests ending the kid before sending that many mercenaries to their deaths or robbing the boy. Corvus, however, replies that apparently he's always walking around the Class 5 knight. A buddy says that the other one is Class 6, so they should just kill. Corvus says it is impossible to kill a Class 5 without leaving a trace behind, meaning everything would be found out. Not to mention that if in the middle of all of this, the kid uses a return scroll, then everything's over. For now, it's best to wait for the perfect opportunity. That will assume the boy's target is the dungeon and act accordingly. But obviously, once he enters that place, he won't be able to use a return scroll, and that's when they'll strike. The guy asks if the plan is to just take out the mercenaries, and the reply is yes. Now I'm confused. Why are they trying to kill our boy? What did he do to these guys, man? He just arrived in the city, hired some mercenaries, and that's not allowed. But there it is, Walter says killing without mercenaries won't be easy, so he expects extra payment. The guy responds that he'll be paid whatever he wants. Not by him, but by the one who hired him, someone with much more money than him and who knows what they're doing. Ah, now it's clear, looks like someone's trying to assassinate our boy, probably the guys from the Empire. Okay, the pieces are falling into place. In this city, there are 3 mercenary groups, man, and the reason each of them came together wasn't because they like each other. For example, the Black Wing guys were thrown out as food for the monsters, while the Shield guys were the ones who didn't let them escape and get eaten, so they were fine. At the same time, conflict was avoided because at any moment, the guys from Red Wolf were eager to wipe out the other 2. But none of the 3 groups start a war because their strength is about even, and the one not involved would take advantage. That's how an extremely delicate balance is maintained in the city. In theory, it's peaceful. The groups, however, are constantly watching each other, looking for any sign of battle or preparation. Meanwhile, back in the Steel Shield mercenaries camp, someone shouts that the bastards are preparing. The white hair guy asks what's going on, and the other explains that it looks like the Black Wing people are bringing everyone back from outside to the headquarters. If that's the case, it's time for them to get ready too. Looks like a fight's about to start in the city, and the scene shifts to Uranus Castle. Someone says no way, and she's insisting, saying that if she's a hostage, she has to go with him wherever he goes. Obviously, it's our boy who says he hasn't invested in her yet, so she's not a hostage. Also, it'd be good if she stopped saying that nonsense every time they talk. Irina says that if she doesn't go, he'll end up regretting it later. He's a bit confused, wondering why she's so confident saying something like that. Misha replies that fine, she can go to the dungeon entrance and no further. After that, she can make a little hut and wait there for him. She accepts immediately, and he already realizes this brat must be planning to go to the entrance and sneak in. But then, Eridona appears. I was already wondering if this woman would really let that girl go. And she says that no matter how strong or secure she is, taking a girl like that to the front of a dungeon is insane. He replies that it's not his fault. She's the one insisting. But Eridona answers that even though Irina is a princess with her own opinions, she's still a child and he's responsible. Confused, he replies that he's a child too, and clearly he opposed it. Eridona instantly pulls the princess away, and our boy finally feels relieved. But he also realizes that Eridona doesn't seem to like him from the very beginning. Our boy says that Eridona needs someone to take care of her. He's not sure if he means a man or what, but he thinks she's way too obsessed with Irina. Though she doesn't have such a bad appearance. If she found someone to take care of the girl, maybe she'd chill out a bit. Yeah, my man literally said she needs a husband. In the bar, the guys are talking about the madam and how much she cares about the young girl. One of them looks over with a big mug in hand and says they should have killed that noble the last time he visited. And the other guy hands over the money and says not to worry, that they'll keep an eye on them. The guy says that the brat must have seduced the young girl and now she's probably all deluded by his sweet little promises. He didn't like that guy from the moment he saw him. But one in the hood isn't saying anything and he asks what the next orders are. What was he thinking? And what were they gonna do if everyone gets dragged into that dungeon? Irina could end up dead. The guy slams the mug on the table and says the boy is naive. Thinks that to win in a dungeon, all you need is more people. His friend agrees and says things are only getting worse since it looks like the Steel Guys and Blackwing are about to start a war. The one in the hood says this is the perfect chance for them to join the mission and hang back just to observe. After that, they return to eliminate or negotiate with the survivors. Back to our boy, a guy walks through the door and introduces himself as Trias. Anything related to the mercenary group should be discussed with him. Calix seems surprised and the guy you'd have a paper proving he's a rank S. He immediately asks if Calix wants him to choose the people who'll join the mission. But our boy is just staring at him, which leaves Trias a little confused. As always, he's looking at a status window